Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding a really fascinating, honestly kind of brutal, threat, how Northeast Ohio weather literally wreaks havoc on local roofs right here in Euclid. We're going to break down the actual mechanics, the building codes, and the exact science you need to protect your home. So think about it. Is your Euclid home truly prepared to survive the relentless forces of that Lake Erie weather engine? Look, sitting less than a mile from the shoreline means you aren't just dealing with normal weather, right? You are right in the crosshairs of moisture-heavy winds and wild temperature swings. It's an environment that actively, constantly tears through standard roofing systems. Here's the roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the lake effect threat, move on to spotting roof damage early, look at building for Cleveland weather, walk through the roof replacement process, and finally wrap up with protecting your home's value. All right, Section 1, the lake effect threat, or as I like to call it, the antagonist next door. Let's dive in. Your roof takes an absolute year-round beating. In the winter, it's just getting crushed by heavy snow loads and those awful ice dams. Then spring rolls around, bringing rapid snowmelt that aggressively tests the flashing around your chimneys and valleys. Summer, boom, straight-line winds hitting 60+ miles per hour, threatening to lift shingles right off the deck. And just when you think you're safe, fall brings sudden temperature drops that make aging roof sealant super brittle just before winter comes back. It's a relentless cycle. And these vulnerabilities are hyperlocal. Here in Euclid, we can see temperatures swing wildly. From single digits up to the mid-40s in a matter of days. That causes materials to rapidly expand and contract. Plus, if you're living anywhere near Route 2, you've got airborne industrial particles settling on the roof, which actually speeds up shingle deterioration. Throw in the fact that older homes, like the classic 1940s to 60s builds you see near East 200th Street, well, they often have multiple layers of old roofing, just trapping moisture and rotting the deck underneath. Moving on to Section 2, spotting roof damage early, the symptoms of weather failure. Okay, the absolute biggest threat we're looking at here is the ice dam. Picture this. It starts when heat escapes from a poorly insulated attic, right? That melts the snow on the higher parts of your roof. That water trickles down, hits the freezing cold eaves, and refreezes into a solid, heavy barrier of ice. This traps all the new melting snow coming down, forcing that water to flow backward, up under your shingles, and straight into your attic space. And yeah, it ruins your insulation and rots your ceilings. It's a nightmare. But hey, it's not just a winter problem. In the summer, those 60-mile-per-hour lake winds we mentioned, they act exactly like a giant crowbar. They peel back the shingles, specifically targeting those vulnerable south and west-facing slopes that get hit by the prevailing winds. Once that vital sealant bond breaks, your roof deck is completely exposed to harsh UV rays and driving rain. That is essentially setting the stage for massive water damage. That brings us to Section 3, building for Cleveland weather. The science of survival. 24 inches. Memorize that because it is the non-negotiable magic number here. The Cuyahoga County Building Code mandates that rubberized ice and water shields absolutely must extend 24 inches past your interior wall lines. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a crucial, engineered line of defense designed specifically to stop the water backup caused by those nasty ice dams we just went over. Now, let's talk materials. If you slap standard fiberglass shingles up there, they're simply going to fail under the stress of our extreme temperature swings. The asphalt backing cracks and all those protective granules just fall right off. But if you invest in premium, climate-rated products like SBS-modified asphalt, that material is designed to safely expand and contract during rapid thermal cycling. Honestly, it's the difference between a roof that easily survives the winter and one that has you desperately calling for emergency patching in March. And this science completely extends to the installation technique, too. A standard 4-nail pattern gives you basic wind uplift protection. But upgrading to a 6-nail, high-wind pattern, that literally doubles the holding power of the shingle against those 60-mile-per-hour lake storms. It's such a simple, incredibly effective change that drastically alters a roof's survivability. We also got to talk about what's happening under the roof. Code requires 1 square foot of net-free ventilation per 150 square feet of attic space. Getting this balance right between intake at the soffits and exhaust at the ridge is absolutely vital. Older Euclid homes often lack this completely. And what happens? It traps attic heat, bakes your shingles from the inside out, and allows winter condensation to rot your decking completely unseen. Okay, Section 4, the roof replacement process. Let's demystify the work. Alpha Roofing tackles this with a really straightforward 3-step process. Step 1 is a thorough inspection and estimate, meaning they look at everything from the ground all the way up into the attic.
Step 2 is the actual installation and protection phase. That involves tearing off the old roof while actively protecting your landscaping with tarps and plywood. And finally, step 3 is the final inspection and warranty, which even wraps up with a magnetic nail sweep of your yard, so you know exactly what's happening at every single phase.
Setting clear expectations is so important here. A typical residential replacement in Euclid usually just takes 1 to 3 days. And please, if you take nothing else away, note this. Securing local Euclid building permits and passing those city inspections is an absolute non-negotiable step. Why? Because it ensures all that roofing science and code compliance we just talked about is actually applied, which directly protects the resale value of your home.
But what if you're dealing with a sudden emergency, like you've got an active leak or a bad storm just tore off a section of your shingles? Alpha Roofing offers same-day arrival. They'll immediately get up there and tarp the compromised areas to stop water from pouring into your interior. And just as importantly, they provide detailed photo documentation. This specific, concrete evidence is exactly what protects you, the homeowner, from getting underpaid on your insurance claims when the adjuster gets involved.
Finally, Section 5. Protecting your home's value, the long-term investment. Let's look at the hard numbers on how long specific materials actually survive in this crazy Cleveland climate. Metal roofing is your heavy hitter, lasting a massive 40 to 70 years. High-quality architectural asphalt, that gives you a really solid 25 to 30 years. But those basic, standard shingles, you're looking at under 20 years before the freeze-thaw cycles just tear them apart. Honestly, you get exactly what you pay for when it comes to longevity. And here is why that investment actually matters for your wallet. 60 to 70%. That is the massive return on investment homeowners recoup at resale by upgrading to a code-compliant, weather-resistant roof. Think about it. Buyers do not want to inherit a failing roof in a leak-effect snow zone. So a new roof drastically improves your curb appeal, helps the house breeze through inspections, and keeps your home from just sitting on the market attracting lowball offers. To protect that massive investment, you really need an actionable maintenance checklist. First, visually check your roof from the ground every single month. Second, whenever it's safe, clear off heavy snow buildup after major storms to prevent those dreaded ice dams. And third, definitely schedule professional inspections in the spring and fall. This helps catch subtle winter damage early, way before it turns into a disastrous interior leak. Which brings us to our final thought. Seriously, when was the last time you actually checked your roof? And more importantly, will it survive the next Euclid winter? The lake effect isn't going anywhere, folks, and just hoping for the best is not a strategy against 60-mile-per-hour winds and freezing snowmelt. Take action, secure your property, and make sure your home is totally ready before the next storm hits. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.